During a Senate hearing in 2018, Russia recently claims to have unveiled its Avangard hypersonic glide vehicle. How would you characterize its alleged advances in hypersonic tech? That was a continuing conversation in that hearing. Hyten's spokeswoman, Major Trish Guillebeau, provided the full transcript of Hyten's remarks from the March 2018 hearing. Our defense is our deterrent capability. We do not have any defense that could deny the employment of such a weapon against us. So our response would be our deterrent force, which would be the triad and the nuclear capabilities that we have to respond to such a threat. We don't have the ability to shoot it down, but there's an except to that. And the except was what we've been defending ourselves with all along, which is our strategic deterrent. Our ICBMs, bombers, submarines. That provides our ability because the adversary can't do anything about our ability to respond if we're attacked. So the defense against the supposed Avangard is our strategic deterrent. We don't have a traditional missile defense capability against that because we have not developed it, but we do have a deterrence approach. But if anybody attacks us with those weapons, we'll be able to respond in an overwhelming fashion. So they should never think about using those weapons. Q. Deterrence doesn't seem like a one-size-fits-all approach. How is the Pentagon tailoring deterrence for specific threats? When you talk about deterrence, two things. Number one, deterrence as a whole of government responsibility. It's not just a military responsibility, and you have to use all the tools of the government in order to effectively deter. In my last job, I spent a lot of time thinking about it. The elements of deterrence really have not changed. The elements are the ability to impose costs on an adversary, the ability to deny benefit to that adversary, and the ability to communicate it credibly to that adversary, so they understand it. What we have to improve in this country is we have to improve how we communicate that to our potential adversaries. We have so many different avenues of communication. Now with the media, with speeches, with social media, we have so many different elements, and it is very, very difficult in the United States to align all our messages so we have a clear, concise piece of the terms. That is the big challenge in a free society. How do you align all those different pieces? So the elements haven't changed, but the means have changed. Q. In the last few years, the US has seen massive disinformation campaigns on social media. How do you work through disinformation, and do you believe the Pentagon is at a crossroads in choosing to take a more reactionary approach instead of trying to get out ahead of a story? Some people call me Pollyannish. Quote, "But I have a fundamental belief in the truth, that the truth is the most powerful thing that can be brought to bear on any problem. And if you just tell the truth, and you tell it straight, and you tell it right out, then truth is more powerful than any misconception. But you have to be aggressive with the truth, and you have to tell the truth right up front. Ideally, if you're aggressive with the truth, you're ahead of false narratives that come. And by the way, false narratives have been around forever. Reporters like you validate your sources as best you can, and you report on it. Most times, you're right. Sometimes you're wrong. And sometimes the source had information that was bad. Most times, it's just an honest mistake. And the way the press has worked in this country forever is it tends to be self-correcting. So, again, I was called Pollyannish recently because I just have this hardcore belief that the truth is the most important thing in this country.